After Effects. It's super powerful. You can do animation, post-production, all kinds of cool stuff. Title sequences, you know you love that. So today that's what we're going to focus on in After Effects. So if this is your first time or you've been using it for a while, I think you may pick up a trick or two. This is my process. There may be better ways, but let's just go ahead and get to it. Now into Photoshop, we're going to go ahead and select this man in the foreground and duplicate the layer, create a layer mask, and then use the paint tool to fill in any holes. We're then going to draw another selection around it and use Generative Fill to remove that guy from the background with the help of AI. Now let's go ahead and do the same things with this couple over to the right. And then go ahead and bake in those layer masks, apply them to the layers, and then we're done in Photoshop. Let's save that file out. This is a huge image, it's like 8K. Now on to After Effects time. So we drag that PSD into After Effects and scale it down, position it where we want it. You can see that as I open up that comp, you can see that there are my 3 different layers, just like in Photoshop. And then I'm going to go ahead and add a camera, and then using the orbit tool I can rotate around in the viewfinder, and you can see that there's some 3D functionality there. And then I'm going to go ahead and use the little gizmo to drag these different layers in 3D space. And at this point you can go ahead and scale the background down, and then we're going to add animation to the camera. So you can see to add animation, you want to click on that little stopwatch, and that creates our initial frames. And then when we scroll forward into time and make a change to one of the parameters, just the distance, the scale, whatever, then it's going to add new keyframes. You can then tighten up those keyframes, the distance between them, to ensure that you've got the right speed. When you're adding an effect, so we're adding the camera lens blur here, you want to have the layer selected, double click on the effect, and it'll apply it. And at this point it's just a matter of adjusting the lens blur on each of the different layers to give it kind of that shift in focus like you would get in a real camera. You can see my couple over there on the left is kind of floating. We'll fix that. So go ahead and add in the title at this point. Just click on that little T up in the top menu, find a font that works for you, get it positioned where you like. You got the properties panel to help you do that. And then just like, well, first let's add a drop shadow, because that makes it a little more readable, and what the heck, right? And then again, you want to position that in 3D space, but keep it between your 2 groups of foreground people and the background. And at this point, we add a lens blur to that and ensure that it's meshed in with everything. Now create a black solid and add a fractal noise effect to it. I accidentally did the VR one, I wasn't paying attention, but it doesn't really matter. Dial that in using brightness and evolution to animate it from dark to bright white, and we're going to use this as a mask for our city beat title, so it can kind of fade in an interesting way. You want to use the track matte drop down and select mask layer. Now at this point we're in our parent comp and we're just seeing how everything works. It runs slower in the parent comp for some reason, and you can see that the city beat was too big, the title, so we had to scale that down. And now we're going to add an adjustment layer and add a vignette effect to that. And what this will do is help focus our eyes on the title as well as gonna hide the floating people there on the far left, a couple. And so now I'm just replaying it a few times so you can see what the final solution looked like. Now, you may want to pause and stop a few times throughout this video, rewatch it to catch everything. If you want more in-depth training or have questions, let me know. Drop something in the comments. Thanks a lot.